Right, diving right in today, we're going to be looking at, well, something you might not expect.
Okay.
It's the link between learning English and, get this, what's going on in the global economy. Might sound a little strange at first, but stick with us.
Yeah.
You'll see how world events can actually, no joke, make you a better English speaker.
Exactly. It's like, language, it doesn't just exist all by itself, right? It's changing all the time along with everything else.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Technology, politics. I mean, even the price of solar panels, it all ties in.
Exactly.
Speaking of solar panels, one of the things we've been looking at is, well, China. They're becoming like a major player in this whole green technology thing.
Yeah.
They're producing like electric cars and, yeah, those solar panels at prices that are honestly shockingly low.
It's true.
One expert even used the word bloodbath,
Oh, wow.
talking about what could happen to the U.S. auto industry if it can't, well, keep up.
And it's not just about the U.S. either, right? I mean, this whole shift is having, ripple effects
Oh, yeah.
all across the world. I mean, there are some serious concerns about how these prices are even possible. Some people are saying, government subsidies and lower labor costs are a big part of it.
Yeah, and this isn't just like a theoretical thing either.
Yeah.
This report we saw actually highlighted a real company, a solar panel company in Georgia that had to shut down
Wow.
because they just couldn't compete with the prices coming out of China.
It really shows you, what happens on one side of the planet can have a direct impact
Oh, yeah?
on businesses and people's lives on the other side. And, for you as an English learner, this means coming across new vocabulary.
Oh, for sure.
New ways of talking about these economic shifts that are, let's face it, shaping global conversations more and more.
It's true. But here's the thing that I found really interesting. Even though China is leading the way in making all this green tech,
Yeah.
they're not actually seeing huge demand for it at home.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So that means they're trying to sell more and more overseas, which brings us back to, yep, you guessed it, the global market,
Yeah.
and even to learning English.
Exactly. As these products end up in new markets, communicating across languages, well, it becomes even more important.
Absolutely.
You'll start to see more marketing, technical stuff, even everyday conversations all happening in English as this continues.
Yeah, so even if you're not an economist or anything, just understanding this shift towards green technology, China's role in it, can actually help you anticipate the kind of English vocabulary and conversations you'll probably run into down the road.
It's like getting a glimpse into, the future of the language itself. Okay, let's switch gears a bit.
Okay.
Let's talk about something a little more futuristic, shall we? Artificial intelligence and how it affects how we use our voices.
Okay.
Yeah. This report, honestly, it blew my mind.
Really?
It talked about this new AI tool that can, get this, clone human voices. Yeah, you give it a short audio sample, and it can generate speech that sounds just like the original person.
That is wild.
Right. I mean, the possibilities are huge. Think about it. Helping people who struggle with reading, or even recreating the voices of people who've lost their speech because of an illness.
Yeah, that's incredible. Sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie or something.
Oh, no. But it's real,
I mean-
and it definitely raises some big questions.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, especially with elections coming up. The potential for someone to misuse this technology, it's a real worry.
I bet.
Can you imagine the chaos if someone starts spreading fake audio messages to, mislead voters or something?
Oh, yeah. It's a little unnerving to think about, honestly.
Right. We've already seen it happen, actually.
You're kidding.
Nope. Fabricated audio clips targeted at politicians spreading false information.
Wow. But, I mean, on the other hand, the report also talked about how this tech could be used for good, like making educational materials with more diverse voices or helping people who've lost their voices to communicate again.
Right, exactly. It's like this classic example of how technology can be both a powerful tool and a potential weapon, And this is where English skills come back into play, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, how so?
Well, to even navigate these complicated discussions about AI and what's right and wrong, you need to know the vocabulary.
Oh, yeah.
Words about technology, ethics, even politics. If you can understand and express your views on these things in English, it'll be so important as this technology keeps developing.
That's a really good point. It's not just about, memorizing grammar rules and word lists anymore.
No, not at all.
It's about being able to actually participate in these huge conversations that are shaping, the whole world.
Exactly. It's about using language to understand and navigate the world around us. And that world is changing fast.
Yeah. It really is. Okay, so we've been talking about China shaking things up in the green tech market.
Uh-huh.
And AI changing how we use our voices.
That's right.
Pretty heavy stuff, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
But it really shows how English is evolving right alongside these trends.
Absolutely. It's not just new words popping up here and there. It's more about how these big global shifts are actually changing the kinds of conversations we need to have in English.
It's true. It reminds me of something we saw in one of the other reports. It was focused on something way simpler, like expressing likes and dislikes.
Ah, yes, I remember that.
Yeah. It's such a basic part of any language, but it can actually be kind of tricky.
Yeah.
To really master all the little details.
It's true. Those nuances can be difficult.
Yeah. And this report had this really fun way of approaching it.
Oh, yeah?
They use the verb go with
Right.
gerunds.
Okay.
Like going swimming, going hiking, going shopping, that kind of thing.
I see.
To talk about, stuff people like to do. And they even had this catchy little chant to help learners remember the structure.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was a great way to make grammar, a little more memorable, less scary.
Yeah, I like that.
Exactly. And it made me think about how even something as basic as saying what you like or don't like can actually be influenced by all these global trends we've been talking about.
Oh, interesting.
Imagine you're chatting with someone from another country about your hobbies, right?
Okay.
What you like to do could be shaped by where you live or what's popular where you're from, or even, by the economic forces we were just talking about.
Oh, that's a great point. I mean, if someone grew up in a place where, being outside is hard because of pollution, or there's not many parks or anything,
Yeah.
their likes and dislikes might be totally different from someone who, grew up surrounded by nature.
And that's where being able to talk in English clearly, really matters.
Absolutely.
It lets you share your experiences, connect with people who see things differently, and even learn new stuff about the world.
It's true.
And as the world gets more and more connected, those kinds of conversations, across different cultures, are only going to become more common and more important, too.
That's a really good point.
I remember when I was first learning English, I was so focused on, memorizing all the grammar rules and making these huge lists of vocabulary words.
Mhm.
I didn't really think about how people actually use the language in, real life.
It's funny how it works, right? A lot of language learners start with all the technical stuff.
Yeah.
And then later they realize that language is really about, communicating with others and connecting.
It's so true. And this report, even though it's about a pretty simple grammar point, it really did a good job of bringing that to life.
Mm-hmm.
They showed how even just saying what you like and dislike can be a way to connect with people,
Uh-huh.
to build relationships.
Yeah. And they really stressed using language in a way that's both accurate and engaging.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't afraid to use idioms or slang, things that add some personality.
Right. Remember that phrase they used? It's a blast.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's so simple, but it really captures that feeling of having a good time.
Exactly. It's a great example of how learning those kinds of phrases can help you sound more natural, more fluent.
And it's a good reminder that learning English doesn't have to be boring. It can be fun, engaging, and even a blast.
Absolutely. As you keep learning, don't be afraid to experiment with new words and phrases, Pay attention to how native speakers use English in different situations, and don't worry about making mistakes.
I mean, mistakes are part of the process, right?
Totally.
And sometimes they're the best way to learn.
It's true. So, embrace the challenge, have fun, and keep exploring this huge, always changing world of the English language.
Well said.
Yeah.
So, ready to shift gears again and get back to maybe the more serious side of how global events are shaping English. Okay, let's circle back to that AI voice cloning thing for a sec. It really got me thinking about the future of English,
Yeah.
and how we communicate.
Yeah, it's definitely a game changer. And it's not even just about the tech itself. It's about the conversations we're forced to have because of it. We're talking ethics, responsibility,
Yeah.
even what truth and authenticity mean,
Yeah, it's wild. It's science fiction, but it's actually happening.
Yeah.
And just to be part of these conversations, you need to know English pretty well.
Oh, absolutely. Think
Yeah.
about it. To even debate the ethics of AI voice cloning, you got to understand all these terms like deepfakes, misinformation, algorithmic bias, even existential risk. And these aren't just like fancy buzzwords.
No.
These are concepts that are actually shaping the world, and they're being talked about in English, like on a global scale.
So it's not just about, like, ordering food or asking for directions anymore. It's about being able to, like, jump into these big discussions that are shaping the future, right?
Exactly. And it's not even just about understanding the words, you know?
Yeah.
It's about being able to really express your own thoughts and opinions clearly, persuasively.
Yeah.
Being able to listen to what other people are saying and actually understand it, you know, and then being able to really participate in a meaningful way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like learning English is becoming a way to actually have power, to have a voice in these important conversations.
I couldn't agree more. And it's not even just about AI either. Think about everything people are talking about these days. Climate change, the global economy, social justice, all these huge issues. You need a good grasp of English to really get involved.
That's true. So for everyone out there who's learning English, don't underestimate what you're doing. You're not just learning like a bunch of words and rules.
Right.
You're getting access to this whole world of ideas and debates, different ways of looking at things, stuff that's going to shape the future.
It's true. And the more you learn, the more you can actually contribute to those conversations. You can make your voice heard. You can even help shape the world around you.
I love that. That's a really inspiring way to put it. So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something to think about. What role do you want to play in all this? What conversations are important to you? And how can your English skills help you get there?
Keep learning, keep exploring, and don't be afraid to speak up. The world needs what you have to say. And English can be the key that unlocks so many possibilities.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's all for this deep dive, everyone. We hope you learned something new and maybe, even feel a little bit inspired.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep those ears open, your minds engaged, and keep on diving deep into the world around you.